Okay, hello everyone. This is Tuesday, July 27th, 2021. I'm Glenda Carlin, and this is our weekly A Course in Miracles group meeting here tonight. And the topic tonight is 3D beingness. Before we go into that, I want to first thing address each person, because Jesus tells us in A Course in Miracles to address and think of each of our brothers as the Holy Son of God or face of Christ. So I choose to right here now say, Holy Son of God, Troy, Holy Son of God, Dee, Holy Son of God, Nancy, Holy Son of God, Sally, Holy Son of God, Kurt, Holy Son of God, Kareem, Holy Son of God, Brian, Holy Son of God, Tina, Holy Son of God, Julia, Holy Son of God, Debbie, Holy Son of God, Teresa, Holy Son of God, Glenda. Welcome, welcome you all. Thank you for being here tonight. I love seeing your faces and your names show up. It's great. Now then, I want to invite in. Ooh, they're always here, but we invite them in to help us. Holy Spirit, Jesus, Buddha, enlightened beings, ascended masters, all be here, help us, guide us what to do or say, and help us have fun and get insights and be inspired with phrases or thoughts that can help us during the week. And I'm going to change up the meditation a little bit because of this topic and me researching being in the course and finding these. Isn't it something you can read the course one time, then two times, and three times, and four times, and different sentences show up, and you go, "Where was that? I didn't get that." Well, this is in chapter, let's see, 7, but it says that fullness is extension, and that being must be extended. That is how it retains the knowledge of itself. And then he talks about wholeness, fullness. We must accept our fullness. So, and so what I realize is the mind. So we think we got a brain and a head, right? So tonight we're going to focus on the head part. And your mind, when we meditate, is when we close our eyes, we're really in a mind then. But I don't care if you think about it as a head, doesn't matter to me, skull, whatever. We're going to put a sun in your head, huge sun, because in essence, that is source, God, light, love, light. Now that I look at what's happened in my mind, where the light shines out and extends out, that's what's occurred now. So why don't we visualize that? And it could help you feel more the fullness and the wholeness of what you are. There's Lynn. Hi, Lynn. Lynn made it. Hi, Lynn. Thanks for being here. So I'm going to switch, and we're going to, when you close your eyes, just relax first. Just kind of relax if you want to take some breaths, deep breaths in and out. And when you do the out breath, you can go, ah. You can just shake your head and relax your shoulders, whatever you need to do to release whatever stress or tensions you've got from the day or whatever, because you want to let that stuff go, because we want to focus on, I'm going to call it our head. It's really your mind we're after, but it's the head. So when you close your eyes in your head, just picture a huge sun. And you can even make it 1,000 suns, like I talk about, or 1,000,000 suns, because the brilliance and radiance of God, we cannot put words on it. That light is what you are, and God is, and all our brothers are. So like I've realized, we for billions of years have thought about the images that are in front of us, and images in our mind. Now we can imagine this light. So just focus on that huge sun that's in your head, and that light, just let it go. let it just radiate out. And that's meaning extend. Let it just extend, means it just goes. Picture if I sound a gong, that gong sound starts with one sound, then it kind of gets fainter as it goes away from you. But in the real world, when that sound goes away from you, there's no time or space. That sound of holiness and light and love continues into no sound. So you just imagine that light continues on to infinity. It just goes on and on. That's extension. But before you picture the extension, I want you to imagine that altar and put on that altar the things you think you need to be happy. Then picture that altar and your body disappear into that huge sun, into that light. Then focus your attention on the light that's there in your head. And then since I've been doing those meditations with that Lama Surya Das and his group and those retreats, I see sometimes where people sit and there's no words that the person leading the meditation says. But now I realize I like the words, because sometimes he'll say words that help me visualize the light and love that we are. So I'll just say words, but if they bother you, you just overlook them, because that's part of forgiveness. Even when we practice forgiveness, people are moving around, they're talking. We want to be able to focus our mind beyond words, beyond sounds. But in your head, in your mind, the phrase rest in the light. So that light that's there, you bring it to yourself in that you rest. You just say rest in the light, and then kind of visualize or think about, what does that mean to you to rest? Well, at night when you lay your head down, you're resting your mind. There's, I think Rumi or someone says, just rest your weary mind and heart. I mean, we're going to rest in that light. So what happens by saying rest in the light, or settle, let the light settle in your mind, that brings it into a deeper place where you're not thinking it's just out there somewhere away from you. It is, you're going to solidify it, think about it in its fullness. And this whole topic tonight is accepting the fullness of light and spirit, that you are. And so do whatever phrase you need about just resting in that light, because you're becoming aware of the light. Because another phrase I'm going to repeat tonight that Lama Surya Das told me, when I told him I didn't know how often I could join with the light, he said, it's hard to join when you're not separate. So that's why I don't use the verb join anymore. You become aware of the light that's here now in your mind, and that light is everywhere. So I'm going to now just pause a minute. You're just becoming aware of that light. Okay, and when you want, you can bring your attention back to where your room, your house, your place. But see, this was less than a minute. That's the other thing I've learned to do is have those quickie moments throughout the day and even at night when you wake up where you're telling yourself, I'm gonna go be aware of the light, where you have your own sentence, be aware of the light, rest in the light, settle in the light. Just, and what that does, that develops that sacred pause we want. We're stopping that egoic mind, that treadmill, egoic knee-jerk thoughts are just endless. We're pausing, stopping, and having a holy thought, holy moment. This is great. This is so wonderful. Okay, now before I forget, then select 3 people on the screen, and we're going to practice true forgiveness, and we may even do it again at the end of the group meeting, because this is what we do when during the day your loved ones at home, or you go to the grocery store, or you watch somebody on TV, or you're talking to somebody on the phone, even if it's like your car dealership, like I went for maintenance. I'm thinking about that person is spirit. They are, and you are spirit, whole pureness, and all is forgiven and released. But more than that, I'm thinking they're not even there. I made them up. I'm talking to myself. And I think I've shared this before with y'all, but one time, it could have been 2 or 3 years ago, I was it's in the drive-through at the CVS pharmacy picking up a prescription, a thyroid prescription or whatever it was. And it was quiet after they were going to get it. I'm not kidding you. Holy Spirit says, you're talking to yourself. There's nobody out there. And I went, what? Damn. Nothing like getting to the nit grit. Well, now that can be shocking to a person, so it's okay. That's the bottom line that we will get to. We can still enjoy these images, but hopefully once in a while we remember they're projected images from our unconscious mind, from the collective unconscious mind. So anyway, pick 3 people. We're going to say, you are spirit, whole pureness, and all is forgiven or released, or you say all of it to that person. Yeah, we could even do every one of them that's in the block. That goes really fast when you get the sentence memorized. And see, what I love about it is, and like I've explained to you, I did saying all of it or those sentences from 2014 till March of 2019, not knowing what the heck I was doing. I just was practicing true forgiveness, and it builds on itself. Um, and as you do your work, Holy Spirit heals the unconscious guilt. But if you don't do your forgiveness work, uh, I, I don't think, I think this unconscious guilt just stays in your unconscious. Although I should clarify, all other people doing forgiveness work, it lessens the guilt in the whole total collective egoic mind. But in the Course, Jesus says to do your forgiveness work so Holy Spirit can heal this unconscious guilt. Anyway, okay. So now, so tonight, this this beingness, how this all came up, in June I had the 2. I'm using Holy Spirit's having me insert Buddhist statements or truths in A Course in Miracles, but sometimes like rest in the light. I mean, Jesus talks about that in the Course. That's just not a Buddhist deal, but Lama Surya Das says that, settle in the light. I don't know if Jesus says settle, but rest in the light. So there was a June retreat, and whenever Gary Renard is having these in-person retreats, or if you can do a Zoom one with him, it really is important because it allows you for a day to concentrate on the Course and hear a person's perspective. And if they meditate in a group meditation, it really is helpful. But anyway, so in June, I did that, his 2-day retreat. And then last weekend, Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, he had a 3-day retreat. And during that retreat, there'd be meditation, Dharma talks, they call it, and he'd have speakers. So picture in June is when he said it's hard to join when you're not separate. And I've been practicing that rest in the light, settle in the light. And he would use the statement, relax in the flow of awareness, which has been really helpful to me. Relax in the flow of awareness. And what that does was, for me, it allowed me just to kind of relax my form and look out the flow of awareness and see that my awareness, my focus of attention, there'd be an image here now, and then it would pass, and there'd be another image, then there'd be a car. So what it was teaching me was to let things come and go and see the trend, see the impermanence, which Jesus talks about, of these images. It's like the movie, things just come and go, but we're not deceived. So relax in the flow of awareness. So I was doing that. And so as the light, I rest in the light and settle in the light. Remember, because of the great ray, I would just recognize the light is here. And then sometimes, like I'd tell you, my head and skull wouldn't be here, and there'd just be light out here. But then the false images were like out in the background. This clear God light was here in front of my face, like right here where my mind was, right? Well, during this 3-day retreat, one of his speakers, Timo Speckens, I think's his name, Speakens, he did a meditation, and we're going to do this part as well. And it's called sky gazing. And this is part of this Dzogchen high teaching where they take, it's called the top, from the top view. And see, that's what Jesus does with the Course. He's taking you at the top, the high teaching that everybody's spirit and love, and he wants you to think of them that way. This is a high teaching you do not hear anywhere else. Well, what they're doing, they're talking about the big view, that there's this great natural perfection, this great iridescent light here now, that it's here now, same teaching. And so how they get you to think about this expansiveness of the now light that's here now is, we'll practice it. First, I don't know if it's still light where you are. I'm looking out my sliding glass door, and if not, you're going to picture a sky. So you picture a sky, this blue sky, and you see clouds. The clouds just come and go. They just come and go, and you're just watching them come and go. And then from the top view, you're focusing your attention either behind your head or above your head and getting a 360-degree look at this spacious sky, where you're not just looking out here in the front of you. So to get to that, you may want to look out in front and go, oh yeah, there's sky. Then focus your attention, oh yeah, the sky's over here on my right. And then focus your attention behind you. Oh yeah, the sky's back there. Just, it's back there. I'm not looking back there, but it's there. Then the sky's over here on your left. You're getting a 360 panoramic view of the sky. Well, that's really also your mind. Your mind has no end to it. It's spacious to infinity. But you're broadening your attention about this spaciousness, wholeness. And now tonight, Jesus is teaching us the word fullness. Okay, then you want to close your eyes, and you're going to picture that sky in your mind. And same deal. You're looking in front. You won't see it, like right now, I just see dark. But you're imagining that sky is there. blue sky's there. Then you're looking over to the right. There's blue sky. Behind you, blue sky. To the left, blue sky. And focus your attention above your head. Oh, yeah, I know that blue sky's there. And you're visualizing this sky. And that allows your mind for maybe a moment, a now moment, to expand, extend into that spaciousness. Anyway, so he was doing that meditation on the sky. Then all of a sudden, now the blue, he says, visualize beingness. I'm not kidding you. Visualize beingness, something like that. And I am not kidding you. Immediately, I opened my eyes and I looked out and I just saw this God clear light everywhere. But now, instead of it being in front of my face, or like I'll say, it spread out over the earth with the images in the background, this time that light it's just everywhere. But this time, these images, like my pots, I'm looking on my patio, the table, the chairs, those images were they're false, but they're sitting in the God clear light, because we've projected them from the one collective ego mind. Now, you all probably have already thought of this, but it never came to me until that time when he said visualize the beingness, because that's what we're doing. My mind is projecting my dream in front of me. Your mind is projecting your individual dream. But then there's the collective egoic dream for when we watch the news on TV and about the planet and smog and all the stuff that's going on. That's the collective ego. But the thing is, so imagine then this light is here now, it is, but these objects are just projected around in it. They're false, but we've been focusing on the objects. So that's why you focus your attention past, Jesus says in the True Forgiveness, that law, workbook lesson 158. See, you guys keep getting it deeper and deeper. Christ's vision has one law. It does not look upon a body and mistake it for the Son whom God created. It beholds a light beyond the body, an idea beyond what can be touched, a purity undimmed by errors. It sees no separation. It looks on everyone, every circumstance, all happenings, all events without the slightest fading of the light. So see, that's why we practice. Besides, you say those sentences to the people and events and situation, you pause for a moment and just look past the body, like we'll do that next, look past the body on the screen and imagine there's their clear, immortal spirit right there. Because see, that's when we do enough of that, then your vision, you go from seeing with two eyes to Christ or Buddha vision of seeing past that body for an instant, maybe just an instant, thinking and realizing, oh yeah, there's that light, his spirit light. So now on the screen, take 3 people and just look past their head and imagine there's the clear light of their immortal spirits there. Whatever you want to say to yourself, that Christ vision has one law. It doesn't look at the body, looks past the body. So we're going to look past the body to what could be called space, just empty space or clear light. Right now, because it's daylight, it's clear light. But the God light is clear. Ultimately, it's invisible. It's invisible. It's clear. That's why you don't see it, and it makes it difficult. Okay. All right. So then, so this, you looking at the sun in your mind or your head and thinking about fullness, the word fullness and wholeness, but I'm going to, and this extension of that sun, that extension or radiation of that light that comes out of your head. This is the lesson tonight in chapter 7, section IX, paragraph 3. The extension of God's being is spirit's only function. Okay, I mean, really, I mean, that sentence, the extension of God's being is spirit's only function. Now, I'm going to go back a couple of steps. So our forgiveness statements, you are spirit, whole, pure, and innocent, all is forgiven and released, or us thinking of them as all of it means we're thinking of them as everything, and we're looking past their body to this invisible spirit light. You're using your mind to think of your brother as spirit. In clarifications of terms, Jesus says the mind is the activating agent of spirit. That's why this is so important, where I call it fake it till you make it. Because as you're thinking of them as spirit, your mind is getting adjusted to that their spirit, but your unconscious is believing in instance that your spirit. Art and Persa in Gary Renard's books talk about that, is that as we think of another person and think about them, that's how we think of ourselves, because there's only one mind. So whatever I think about you, the unconscious mind stores every word, every thought. So that's why we're catching our thoughts to think holy thoughts. Okay, so now what I wanted to talk about is, so the mind is the activating agent of spirit. So Jesus is saying the extension of God's being is spirit's only function. So you are spirit. So your function is to extend God's being. Now, what the heck is being? Because that's such an abstract word, being. Well, the only way we can relate to it is light and love. So that's why I talk about that. The light that we are is soaked with love. That love is the glue that holds everything together. Love is, you were, and Jesus says you were created out of love by God. You are love. But this, so the being is this light that's soaked with love. That's why I call it love light. So that extension is when you go to your mind or your head and you have visualized the sun, and you let that sunlight extend out like a ray. Let those rays extend out, folks. This is so huge because Jesus says here, it's fullness, meaning this fullness, your only sun, your only source, your only light is extending out. That's, a while ago, I was sitting in my chair contemplating this talk, and I sat with that, the fullness of my mind. I put the sun in my mind and I went, wow, that's true. There's only light radiating out. There's only extension of light. That's God's beingness in you. So its fullness cannot be contained any more than can the fullness of its creator. Then look at his next sentence in that chapter 7, section 4. Fullness is extension. So I wrote 3 sentences down, and I'll be absorbing those in this coming week. One is fullness is extension. The extension of God's being is spirit's only function. And then in that same chapter, IX paragraph 2, sentence 6, he says, being must be extended. That is how it retains the knowledge of itself. So see, by you doing this, you're remembering what yourself is. Being must be extended. That is how it retains the knowledge of itself. I mean, way cool, right? But down here in another paragraph, he says, you got to accept this, accept this. So, where did he say, accept this? Oh, I want to get back. Oh, it's through acceptance. Where is acceptance? Oh, here it is. Oh, that's it. Chapter 7, IX, section IX, paragraph 4, and restores to the kingdom because of its acceptance of wholeness. You've got to accept this. So make a note somewhere. I'm going to accept this fullness of this sunlight in my mind. Accept it. And then you go on with your work, but see, in your daily doings. You've paused. You got off the treadmill of knee-jerk thoughts and you're thinking holy thoughts. Okay, and another way that it can help you think about this fullness, this wholeness, this awareness of union with your brother is that holy relationship. You can pick a person in your life and they don't have to be there right in front of you. Picture their eyes and ask Holy Spirit to help you to join with their mind. Think of them as holy. Think of yourself as holy. Say the forgiveness statements, because joining with the light will give you this union feeling of oneness with your brother. That's what you're going for, is this ability to feel fullness, wholeness, WHOLENESS, because that can, we feel incomplete because he says here that let's see, where is he? Okay, I'm going to read a whole paragraph. The kingdom is forever extending because it is in the mind of God. You do not know your joy because you do not know your own self fullness. He is self as a capital S dash fullness. Exclude any part of the kingdom from yourself and you are not whole. See, that's why we're practicing forgiveness and all these people that show up in front of you and in your mind, because we don't want to exclude anyone, but our mind automatically sorts and separates people out. A split mind cannot perceive its fullness and needs the miracle of its wholeness to dawn upon it and heal it. This reawakens the wholeness in it and restores it to the kingdom because of its acceptance of wholeness. See, that's chapter 7, section IX, paragraph 4. The full appreciation of the mind's self-fullness makes selfishness impossible and extension inevitable. That is why there is perfect peace in the kingdom. Spirit is fulfilling its function, and only complete fulfillment is peace. So that's why this statement, fullness is extension. The extension of God's being is Spirit's only function. That's what we do in heaven, naturally. Just extend God's being, His light and love. Being must be extended for us to retain the knowledge of what we are, you know. Okay, so back down here, I want to read some more of these great paragraphs that he wrote in that section. How are we doing on time? Okay, in that same chapter 7. Oh, here, I love this part too, where Jesus talks again about where Holy Spirit lives. Holy Spirit is in the part of the mind that lies between the ego and the spirit, mediating between them, always in favor of the spirit. To the ego, this is partiality, and it responds as if it were being sided against. To spirit, this is truth, because it knows its fullness and cannot conceive of any part from which it is excluded. Spirit knows that the awareness of all its brothers is included in its own. So when you go to that light that's in your mind, the sun that's in your mind, remind yourself that's where your spirit lives, and in that light is the spirit of all your brothers, because we're only spirit and light. We're not these separate bodies, but spirit knows that the awareness, see, you're becoming aware of that light and aware that that light is you. You're watching your own light. You're being aware of it. The power of the whole sonship and of its creator is therefore spirit's own fullness. rendering its creations equally whole and equal in perfection. What your creations are is love, love light. That extension, I mean, there's nothing else, just love. Hymn of love we sing to our Father still, because we're created out of love. We are love and light. You are the light of the world. We're light. Everything he created is given all his power because it is part of him and shares his being with him. Creating is the opposite of loss, as blessing is the opposite of sacrifice. Here's where that statement comes. Being must be extended. That is how it retains the knowledge of itself. Spirit yearns to share its being as Creator did. So your spirit wants to share being, and that would be that light when you go to your mind and see that sun and aware of it and let it radiate, extend out. You're sharing your beingness. It says here, spirit yearns to share its being as its creator did. Created by sharing, its will is to create. It does not wish to contain God, but wills to extend his being. So yeah, God can't be contained. You can't be contained. This fullness, wholeness, completedness is self. It's naturally extending. If you get out of the way with your thoughts, just get out of the way, go to the stillness for an instant and be with that. Let that light be, let it radiate and extend out. Okay, so where were we? I read that paragraph already. Your creations are protected for you because the Holy Spirit who is in your mind knows of them and can bring them into your awareness whenever you will let him. They are there as part of your own being because your fulfillment includes them. The creations of every son of God are yours, since every creation belongs to everyone, being created for the sonship as a whole. That creation is love, and this extension of this light. Your self-fullness, don't you love that? Capital S, self-fullness is as boundless as God's. Like his, it extends forever and in perfect peace. Its radiance is so intense that it creates imperfect joy. So your radiance, Jesus tells you, is intense. It is. It's intense. It's brilliant beyond any light that we've ever seen. And only the whole can be born of its wholeness. Be confident that you have never lost your identity and the extensions which maintain it in wholeness and peace. And the extensions are these light rays. This love naturally extends. Miracles are, unless you block it, miracles are an expression of this confidence. They are reflections of both your proper identification with your brothers and of your awareness that your identification is maintained by extension. Read that sentence again, Glenda. And your awareness that your identification is maintained by extension. So when you go to your mind and you're aware of that light extending, that's your identification, that's your beingness, that's your spirit. You're becoming aware of it more and more often. The miracle is a lesson in total perception. By including any part of totality in the lesson, meaning one of your brothers, you have included the whole. So that's why that holy relationship is so important. If you get one joining with somebody, like the ark is entered 2 by 2. That's in one of these other chapters, meaning joining with your mind with another brother, because then you've recognized them as spirit and mind. You're not bodies. And you might join with them, like even if you imagine their breath, or if you're around them, just listen for their breath and join with that breath. And before you know it, I've done it before. When you join with their breath of a person, you join with their mind. It just goes. If you're open to it, you just let it go. You're wanting to join. Again, it's your willingness, your little willingness to be in an instant, step out in that instant and sense the wholeness of the joining with, in this case, joining with the breath and joining with their mind in that light you see in their eyes. So, because he says the miracle is a lesson in total perception. Because see, what Jesus is going for in the Course is correcting false perception with true perception. And later, then knowledge comes, which is not a purpose of the Course. But that ultimately does show up. By including any part of totality in the lesson, you have included the whole. Yeah. But your identification is maintained by extension and your awareness of it. See, that's the other thing that I picked up on with this Lama Surya Das's group and his meditations. He'll say, you're aware of awareness. And people will ask him, what the heck does that mean? How am I aware of awareness? Well, what happens if you can step back enough out of your mind, your vision is behind you, and that you're aware of this clear God light that's in front of you. Your Christ vision, your mind it's aware of itself, and you're aware of this God light that's here now, aware of awareness. But the first step is what I'm wanting to present to you more is that word awareness, what Jesus says in the introduction, we're removing blocks to the awareness of love's presence. And these blocks are our thoughts that we're a body and our brothers are bodies out there. And there's tables and chairs and all that stuff. So that's why we're practicing forgiveness, true forgiveness, and it builds on itself. And you meditate and you turn your day over to Holy Spirit. Gosh, guys. So this does work because you're using the word awareness in your vocabulary to yourself. When you reason with yourself, what am I aware of right now? What am I focusing on? And that's when you bring your attention to go look at that light past the body of the person. Or you'll say, what am I aware of? What am I focusing my attention on? And how we know what we're focusing on is how I feel. If I'm upset, angry, irritated, I've agreed with a thought of ego. And I'll give you an illustration. And I had there was an egoic thought that I wasn't paused enough with to stay separate from. I damn agreed with it. And I was explaining it with Sally is that, and when this happens, you only do what happened is then I was able to see that I had stored up some things I was upset about. So I agreed with ego, and it became an all or nothing deal versus just talking over the issue with the person, right? But ego likes to escalate things, or my mind, I had denied some feelings and that I wanted things different, right? The grasping or the pushing away of stuff. But yet you have these thoughts. That's why we journal. So we're aware of what we're thinking so that our mind doesn't escalate to be where some argument becomes all or nothing with somebody. Because there's room for compromise, negotiation. Typically, I don't know, because Holy Spirit will be in there with you to help solve it. But the point was, I agreed with ego. So I said to myself, so the person wanted to talk, and I said, no, I don't want to talk right now. I'm not ready to do that. So I suffered through the night with the deal because I just didn't want to think about it. But ultimately, I asked Holy Spirit, and I did know enough to ask Holy Spirit to help me, but I was still stubborn enough to not want to hear what Holy Spirit had to say, right? But finally, I did go out underneath the trees, ask Holy Spirit to help me again. And I realized, yes, I want this relationship, but I need to work out some things with the person and just talk with them about how I feel, what's going on. I mean, we're here for, to get along and continue our relationships if that's how it's going to be. So, no, as you go along, ego still, he's still there, even if it's 1% of the time. That's why we use our mood and our feelings to tell us if I agreed with ego or not. Then I need to ask Holy Spirit to help me see it different and be guided what to do or say. Because it happens like a ping pong ball. It's a knee-jerk reaction of all this stuff that we're pausing to try to get some space between thoughts so we're not reacting. But it's okay. We still react. You don't beat yourself up. You just journal and you do the best you can. You do the best you can and let it go, right? Let it go. Ask Holy Spirit for help and come to whatever you want to talk about with the person. So we're at 7:49. So I'm going to stop here because there may be some conversations and thoughts that questions even that you all may want to talk about. And I forget, Lynn, you were telling me something. Lynn and I were walking and she told me something that she thought about and it helped her. I forget what it was.
Well, I think it was when we were talking about what you think about when you're in the light and speaking to Holy Spirit. And I have gotten to a point where I don't ask for or talk about anything I want or try to control anything in my life. I just go into the light and say, help. Whatever way you think I need help, give me that help. I'll let you decide what help I need. I'm not even making that decision anymore. I've decided that I probably would try to control what I want Holy Spirit to do. And since I need to let go of that control, I think I just give it all up and say, okay, help. Help me in whatever way I need help.
Oh, that's priceless. That is priceless. Oh, but another thing you said that I found appropriate is, with this COVID variants in our illusion and delusion, someone was saying to me, they felt like depressed, like, what the hell? I thought we were going to get to open back up to being and going wherever we want to go. And now look, we're having to, but
yeah, I remember. And I said that, I canceled my cruise that I had planned for October, and it was with Debbie, and there were just too many obstacles that didn't sound right. So I was a little down about that, thinking, oh, I don't have that to look forward to. So I changed my mind.
Yeah, good.
I looked at the refund I was getting and how far my charge card is going to go down to practically nothing when I get that refund. So
yes.
Then I was happy because I changed my thought.
Yes. Now, because even though it's the illusion, we want to be safe, because I want to keep going in this dream until I fully waken up, folks. So I'm not pushing the envelope because I don't know what I agreed to in my dream. I don't want to push my dream. So if I got to wear a mask again, for example, like I'm coordinating that Gary Renard event November 6th, and I'm going to go to Asheville for an October 2nd event he's doing. If I got to wear a mask, I'm wearing a mask, because I don't need to push that issue. But at the same time, then we practice this true forgiveness on that I am, don't you love in our statements? I'm responsible for what I see. I'm going back. I love this. I choose the feelings I experience and I decide upon the goal I would achieve. And everything that seems to happen to me, I ask for and receive as I have asked. Now, this was a booger to look at when I had my knee-jerk moment with a person. I had to realize, and I would say, yeah, I'm responsible for what I see and feel. I did this to myself. Because see, I think in the Course, Jesus says the secret is you're doing this to yourself with my own thoughts, with my own agreeing with that false egoic thought system versus thinking with Holy Spirit. But that's why we say our statements. I'm responsible for what I see. I choose the feelings I would experience, and I determine the goal I would achieve. And everything that seems to happen to me, I ask for and receive as asked. So as Lynn and I will say that those sentences as we walk, and I'll go, well, I'm responsible for what I see. And then I ask myself, well, what do I want to see? I want to see with Christ's vision, Buddha vision. I want to see this clear, invisible God light. I choose the feelings I experience. What feelings do I want? I want loving thoughts, peaceful thoughts, joyful thoughts. And I determine the goal I would achieve. So what's my goal? You got to pick your goal. What is your goal? Do you want to awaken from the dream? I want to be more aware of my thoughts. I want to see that sun in my head more often during the day. Put your sticky notes around. And then I am not deceived. We're not deceived because we know we're doing this to ourselves. And that's something. But anyway. All right. Now, please, any questions or thoughts here? I love hearing questions and thoughts.
This is magnificent, Glenda.
What, my dear?
Night, it's like in words, you have put me like in heaven, like an experience of heaven. You're painting it even more clearly. And last week, your lesson on, keeping the light, holding the light, I switched over to that phrase for the whole week, and it had an immediate effect on me. And then it started losing a little bit of its effect, and I found the monkey mind, going and going again. And so when I had a physically quiet moment, which is when I sit with my kitty cat, when I'm feeding her and brushing her at night, and so I played around, my mind just naturally played around with different phrases, and I eventually, and what I've been saying now for the past 2 or 3 days is I'm holding the God light. That felt so powerful to me. And then I went to bed and I woke up with this more solidified peace inside of me. It also has helped changing my cat's behavior, just saying that. She had a little bit of background. She had a trauma a year and a half ago before we happened upon the ozonating, and it made her afraid of being inside my house after all these years of her being a house cat. So she's safe outside. She's just right outside the front door all day long, like in the driveway, like I can see her right now. She's not a flight risk or anything, but I missed her. I wanted her to come back in the house. So I was reading about 2 months or so ago, I was reading the lifetimes when Jesus and Buddha were companions, when they knew each other. And Gary talks about falling in love with a little kitty and not understanding the way cats are. And so the kitty would cry. He was telling Art and Persa how the kitty would cry whenever Cindy, his wife, would leave. So they told him animals communicate with pictures. If you can play a movie in your head. So I started doing that with my cat to try to get her to come back inside and relax and all that kind of stuff. Well, eventually my brain just got I wasn't very good at it, and it tired my brain out. So I've been experimenting with different shorthand methods, because she was really traumatized, not like his kitty cat that was just traumatized every time Cindy left. This was a constant, like 24/7. So when I hit upon I'm holding the God light, she's now coming in the house with me and sitting on my lap. Wow. And going down, and I don't have to go through like elaborate little videos that I play in my mind of letting her know what's going on. So just doing that is changing her behavior and lessening her trauma somehow.
Wow. Well, your lights touched her. But see, that's what I'm trying to do is these phrases. I'm realizing there's phrases that help me. So I'm sharing them with you all and asking you to sit with them and maybe tweak them and you come up with your phrase. And I'm looking back on how things happened with me, trying to recollect how this could shorten your
Yes.
process. And in that magnificent about the sun in the head, just
Yeah.
put a sun in there, right? I mean, wow.
Sorry, but I was already doing that. Even when you were putting it above our heads, I had
Oh,
to
that's great.
have you, but I still, I don't pay attention to every single, like you said, silence sometimes. You don't listen to actual words. You just get
Yes.
feeling and stuff. So yeah, I wanted to say thank you for last week and tonight. It's like you're painting an experience of heaven, because my goal is not to return after this
Yep.
life.
Yeah, me too. I would love that. Oh, yes. Holy
Absolutely.
Spirit, help us all, not just us, everybody in the world, touch them and awaken as we awaken. And
I like
wow.
where you say, in order to join with the mind, because I've been curious how you and Lama Surya Das had come upon that. I don't know who I'm supposed to join minds with. I've attempted to join minds with you when we're not around, and I felt like you were there, but I didn't know if you were aware that we were doing that. And so I've tried with my husband. So when you say the eyes, picture the eyes of the person, that's really helping me.
Well, the breath, but you could call me and we can do it by phone too. Any one of you can call me. We could schedule something and do that if you want. And think of each other as holy and joining of minds if you want.
I think of, I think of you like that. And even when you're saying doing individual people here on the screen, mine just bursts out everywhere and it goes past my computer and everything. And when I was in the bathtub saying, I'm going to hold on to the God light, I'm going to be greedy and hold on to my God light. And I was in the bathtub the other night, and you can't hold on to it. It creeps out.
Wow.
It goes
It naturally extends, but you got to feel the fullness to let it. So just change your word. You're feeling the fullness and it naturally extends, but that's well put.
doing
But
you.
first, you're
Mhm.
resting in it and you're trying to hold it because it seems not solid. That's why last week I used the word it's solidified. It gets more solid in your mind, the light more solid.
My body too is it's feeling a little bit more like that too, but you help me to remember that spirit is the exact opposite of how the projection works. We have to hold on to something. In other words,
Oh,
it's
keep
not
it.
like like I was trying to give away the light, and so I was, having a little bit of a gap there of peace, and oh, I'm concentrating and trying to push it out to other people and everything. And I'm like, no, it'd be easier if I just try to hold it, because the way spirit works is if I hold it, it will extend. If
Oh,
I
yeah.
acknowledge
That
it,
that
then
was last week. The keep it. You must keep it for it to extend, Jesus says, right?
yes, keep the light. I'm going to hold on to the light, and it just
Mm-hmm.
help it. It just goes.
Wow.
It's really great. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, thanks, Troy. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. Now, Sally's got her hand up. Yes, Sally, go. You're next.
Yeah, I just feel like I really thought that I could handle a lot of crap, but I don't have to be a doormat, right? I mean, I know that I chose this life, I chose what I'm going through, but I don't have to be a doormat, right?
No,
Emotional.
no, no, no.
You
You
guys,
set
you're so helpful, and I just appreciate you so much.
well, but Sally, at the same hand, you don't burn any bridges, so to speak. Ask Holy Spirit to do this as call me soft pedal of this in journal because and ask Holy Spirit because it doesn't have to be, it can be an easier way. Although I want to share something here too, and I shared it with Lynn. I don't know. All that I told you all that day, I was cleaning out my garage. I took stuff to the street, and this lady showed up at the street right as I was taking stuff in there. And she asked, I said, oh, yeah. And she wanted some screening and needed more screening. And I had more screening in my garage. So I said, come on back to my house. I got more screening. Long story short, I'm not using names here. But this could be generic for anybody. her son is a drug addict, and uh, 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 and for years she's tried to help him with money and different things. I'm not going into the whole deal, but the point is, she had to sit with Holy Spirit, and I explained just words. I just said words. That karma is his karma. And Sally, that person in your life, that's their karma. You get entangled in it when you take it on and you feel unhappy and upset and angry with it and frustrated. You're taking on their karma. You're getting entangled in it. Then that's more forgiveness stuff you got to do. So you're asking the Holy Spirit, how can I talk with them with facts without getting entangled in the frustrated, the angry part? But this woman had to boil down to, she actually had to move from a rented place because she had given their address. They had used her address as their home. Police can't evict them. So she actually had to leave. And it's working out, because the first time she told me tonight, 50 years, she's going to take care of herself. She's thought about her son and other people in her life before her. And she has some needs to take care of herself physically. And I said, that Holy Spirit never wants anybody to be a psychological doormat or physical doormat at all. But so we asked for guidance. So she's doing tough love in the illusion. This person, 20 years or more of this addiction. So now each person's got their own stuff. Maybe she's going to continue with the karma or not. I don't know. But I know that Holy Spirit, if you journal, can give you solutions that are, and you put on the altar your issues or whatever they are, and you'll be inspired with solutions. He does not leave us comfortless at all. Plus call, like if we want to, I think I shared phone numbers, but my phone number is inside my email. So you guys call anytime. And if I can't talk, we'll coordinate time zones when we can. Okay. Because we're in this together, folks.
I love you all. I so appreciate you.
Oh, I love you all. Oh, is that sweet? You're all so sweet. Anything else, my dears? How we do? Anyone else have a comment or anything they want to share? That's so sweet. Teresa got a heart there. I know we can be honest with our feelings and ask for help, and and Holy Spirit, Jesus, Buddha, ascended masters, enlightened beings, they're here to help us. Help us, help us. They're all stacked up around. Can you imagine the power of what's around us? Jesus is here. I mean, give me a break. Buddha. I mean, really, duh. Holy Spirit. We can't see him, but oh my goodness, people. All the people that have awakened before us, they're here. They're helping us. Enlightened beings, masters. Go ahead. What?
In Gary Renard's first book, I think Art and Persa revealed Mother Teresa had
enlightened.
All that. Yeah, she's no longer reincarnating.
And she's enlightened.
Yeah, that she's enlightened. And they even, where did I read it? Was it his first book, Disappearance of the Universe? And it was sharing how she was agonizing, and in pain, during her lifetime. And so she must have, I don't know she wasn't using A Course in Miracles that I know of. They didn't say that, but somebody, or I think it was Art and Persa in Disappearance of the Universe, said that she's enlightened now.
Oh, yes, she's enlightened. Yes. Yes, I remember reading that. And I would believe that because she took in people of all faiths to help them.
Yeah. And then they shared something about how she was agonizing, though, that she had her own despair and pain. And I'm like, oh, wow. I don't know what spiritual practice, or if it was just direct to God, or she's Catholic?
I think she was. But see that she probably felt such compassion for everyone that she could have taken on their hurts in her mind or something. I don't remember that part, but I know they said she's enlightened. And
we all have different spiritual paths. So who knows how long she'd been working on hers in other lifetimes,
you can bet for us to be talking like this, we've worked on this many lifetimes, been in Hinduism, Buddhism, sophism. I forget all those names, all those, what are the ones, oh, there's a group that aesthetics, I forget. No, that's not the word, but
Gnostics.
Gnostics, yes.
Yeah.
All kinds of people, even Masons have certain, even like AA, we turn everything over to God, you know, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, we're all in this together. Let's help each other. You know, all of them have, some of them have, all in varying places have this, that we're in this together. Let's help each other, you know. So anyway, but boy, the Course in Miracles, that is a his high teaching is, oh
Bet.
my. See, he's starting at the top. He's starting at the top. We are immortal spirit. We are love light. Now y'all just take that in and you know, realize it, recognize it, be aware of it. I mean, this just high teaching. So congratulations that you all are in that, studying that, and we're in this group here together. I much appreciate each of you. Love you guys. If nothing else, Dee, you have something you want to share? How you doing with your doggy passing you about? You know, it's still raw, I'm sure.
No, I'm really peaceful. I really, I asked the Holy Spirit, you know, I asked them to see differently, and I had a peacefulness, and, you know, not that I don't get choked up a little. I see her little collar or something like that. I get choked up, but, honestly, you know, I had a conversation with her that night, and I told her I would fight with her as long as she wanted to, but if she wanted to go, I'm going to be wherever she goes. Like, I wanted her to know that, because I knew she was just hanging on because she loved me so much. And I said, wherever you go, I'm going to be there. And she left that night. And yeah, I'm doing okay with it. I really, really am. Like, not as heartbroken, you know, as I usually get with them, you know.
Yeah. Oh, I get it totally. Like Toby, I got 2 recliners with a console between them. He would have his own recliner. And now he did not like to be touched, really. I adopted him at 5 and we just developed a rapport. But when he wanted to be talked to, he'd come over and step, and he would not bark. He'd take his little paw and just touch me. And I was just like, I thought of him the other day, and I went, now, Toby, I'm just going to picture you still being over there, you know, talk to you. We can, just like a loved one in the form of person, an animal, anything, we can talk to them. Yeah, well, they're always.
It was the Holy Spirit had said, nothing is being taken from you. And after that experience, I tried to not take anything personally. That's kind of the message that I got. Like I try, like when someone says something to me or does something, I just try to not take it personally at all. Because if I take it personally, that's my ego. Yeah. That's my ego that's taking it personal. So I've really, for the last couple of weeks, really been practicing not taking anything personally.
Oh yeah, when they comment, see, I'm writing that down, because see, that's what I agreed with ego on. I took something personal that somebody did. Well, hell, I mean, I'm doing this to myself. They don't know. Although I can talk to them later about what they said, I don't need to escalate it though, you know, and get in that reactionary thought, feeling cycle that goes, you know.
Love you, Linda. Somewhere in the Course, doesn't it say there is no such thing as loss? Loss just does not exist.
Well,
I think so.
Oh, well put, because loss would be the opposite of extension. Extension is only a continuance, never any interruption. Loss is totally of the ego, wanting to take things away from us. You know, oh, and I think that Sue Ann, I forget her last name, Orenbach or something from a Course in Miracles groups, she had this great posting she did about loss and said, love and light we give, you don't lose anything. It's like, if I give you a cookie, I no longer have the cookie. I lost it. But that's a form piece. I'm giving this love and light and joy and peace, you know, this fullness of that you're also full, whole, and complete. Yeah, not lacking. But I like that illustration of thinking, if I give you a cookie, I don't have that cookie anymore. I lost something. I gave up something. But to give love, peace, and joy, Jesus says, first you receive it. We first receive it. It's like we keep it, we receive it, and then we give it. You can't give what you don't have. So that's why we're developing this eternal love feeling. We touch it. We know that's what we are, this love, and that naturally makes us want to be empathetic and compassionate of people that are like Sally, that are torn with this, can't get out of the cycle of an abusive relationship. They go back in it, and then they walk away from it. That cycle of abuse that you're empathetic because you just know how horrible they must feel inside for that, but yet you don't want to take on their feelings and their deal, but whatever. But anyway, we develop a compassion, we put ourselves in their shoes, but we're not doormats to these people at all. Thank you, everybody. Well, anything else? And then
Gonna call me, Sally? I can't hear you. You're on mute.
Yes, I am. I didn't unmute.
yeah, that's fine. Okay, yeah, anybody can call me too. Honest, you guys. Okay, I love you all. If nothing else, we'll end our group for tonight, and I'll look forward to seeing you all next week.
Love
Y'all
you
have a
guys.
blessed week.
Love you
Love
all.
you.
Love.
Bye.
Beautiful week.
Bye.
Bye,
Thank
you
you.
all.
Too.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Love you.